Hey everyone, before I get started, I just want to remind you that if you like my content, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and then join the Militiaman and Crew Patreon community by clicking the link in the caption. Hey everybody, Militiaman and Crew here on a Friday afternoon. I hope everybody's having a wonderful day. I have had an awesome one. The weather's still good where we are in the Northwest, and but it's obviously getting a little cooler at night, but that's okay. It's just that time of year. So, hey, look, everybody that comes into patreon.com/MMANDCREW, welcome. Thank you for all being with us. Every single one of you members is important, and we try to make sure that everybody's needs are met. So, thank you for sending me the comments. Thank you for the support. Thank you for all of those things. We all appreciate that, and we try to keep a really tight ship. Our Discord chat room is a free add-on that Patreon brings, okay? And it is for everybody. And we have people from all over the world. So our Patreon room has a few rules, but our Discord chat room has a few more. So if you guys think about it, keep our study to the Dinar and everything goes smoothly. That's really kind of important, is because of we have so much diversity in our room, and we have so many people from so many different walks of life. It's a thin line. We have gray areas. So, but thank you, because it's really kind of exciting, because a lot of people really do embrace our site and enjoy it, and they do get real data. We try to keep it to the real data. Obviously, some of the articles that we get in the Dinar and other things aren't always the truth. But hey, it's media. We're probably pretty used to that in the United States. It's not always the truth. All right. So, but on a bright note, there is some big things happening. If you guys have been paying attention to this study, it's been really powerful in this month of October. And I would say that here's a key indicator that Iraq is about ready to open to the world, to the international world, and in a really big way. Iraq is preparing for an experimental lay on the 5 sidewalks in the large port of Al-Faw. Well, I'm not sure if they're talking about the average sidewalk, you guys, but 5 berths for the biggest ships in the world. Okay, going to be moving transport, oil, containers, everything. So it says the General Company of Iraq Ports announced the readiness for the pilot docking of commercial ships on the 5 berths in the great Port of Al-Faw. I think the real name is the Grand Port of Al-Faw. But anyway, the Director General of the ports, his name is Farhan Al-Fartusi. He says, based on the directives of the Transport Minister, Mr. Al-Sadawi, on the need to prepare for the mooring operations and the experimental launch on the berths of the Al-Faw Al-Kabir port, which has been fully completed. Think about it, you guys. They didn't just build this whole massive port, which they're not done yet. I mean, 5 berths are just the start. I believe there's going to be up to 90, but 5 is the start. So, when they say completed, that's the biggest thing. They say that portion is completed. And so that means that they have access for 5 ports now. As they grow, they'll be starting to ship through the Development Road Project. And what is that going to mean? It's going to be non-oil revenues, everybody. It's going to be non-oil revenues. So basically, what is it? The port authorities are basically geared up and ready to open for business. A large amount of Iraq's much needed non-oil revenues is going to come from this port, and it's going to just grow. Okay, so enjoy. Look, a little background for the financing of Al-Faw Grand Port is Daewoo Engineering Construction. They put in about $2.7 billion to get to where they are today. The Abu Dhabi-based company is called the the General Company for the Ports of Iraq. Abu Dhabi-based joint venture with those guys. It's called AD Ports. They're involved. The Iraqi government's involved in funding all of this. Private investors, which they call the public-private partnerships, are all involved. Other countries like the UAE Qatar. Both oil and gas majors are expected to provide financial support. So all in all, the Grand Port is being fully built in the peninsula of the southern portion of Iraq. And when it's fully built, it will be one of the largest ports in the world. So are they going to do that at 1310 exchange rate today? I don't think so, you guys. And not to mention is that they haven't done many other things because of that exchange rate. It's not the real effective exchange rate that we await. So just a little more background. It says here, according to the plans, the Port of Al-Faw in Iraq, also known as that Grand Port of Al-Faw, is expected to be one of the largest ports globally, with a projected capacity to handle 99 million tons of cargo each year, potentially making it one of the biggest ports in the Middle East, and it's one of the top 10 largest worldwide when fully developed. What's the capacity that it aims to handle? 99 million tons of cargo. It plans to build up to 90 berths, not just 5. Expected to complete and become the largest container port in the Middle East. The largest container port in the Middle East. And it will also be linked to a railway system for what? Transporting goods and people from Iraq to Turkey, potentially all the way into Europe. So when they bring this up now, you ask yourself, well, okay, why? Well, because they're opening to do business. That's huge. So interestingly enough, today, the Ministry of Finance, she has an article out, Taif Sami. The Minister of Finance stresses the need to adhere to the timetables achieved economic reforms. Well, I wonder why she has timetables. Well, because she's the legal side of the finance department, isn't she? Isn't she the one that helps and puts out the allocations to the departments that pay for projects and all that stuff? Yep, I think she is. So she has timetables that she has to meet by. What else is she going to need for that? She's going to need to know exactly what the budget tables are, because that's where the money's coming from. It's coming from the 2023-2024 budget. I think it's the law for the tripartite budget law. I think it's called, in the Gazette, it's 4739 or 59. You guys can look it up. It's really fast and easy. You can find that. But anyway, the point is that is law. And they're going to base their things off of that. And so they probably have time frames. And if there's been amendments to that, which was, we believe, one that's missing at the moment, and it's not, as of today, 4782 hasn't been published. But we have all the way out to 4796 or more today. So there's a reason for them to be holding that back. And we'll find this out. So it says the Finance Minister Taif Sami stresses that Thursday, which was yesterday, the need to adhere to timetables to achieve economic reforms. She's stressing the importance of adhering to specified timetables and achieving the desired objectives in promoting economic stability. It says the meeting touched on the most prominent economic and financial indicators. Financial indicators are, data sets. Okay, reviewed the results of the reforms that have been completed up to date so far, in addition to discussing ways to accelerate the pace of reform in vital sectors. She stresses there's the need for cooperation between all parties to achieve sustainable development and improve the standard of living of citizens. Now realize today I put an article on the back of this particular article from the United States Treasury. I suggest every single person read it and understand that when they talk about those buzzwords that I'm talking about, stability, sustainable development, improve the lives of citizens, you've got to read the article from the United States Treasury this morning. And it's a long read, but it mirrors in so many ways, suggesting the picture of the global stance. Every single entity that's in the article from the U.S. Treasury, you can find it in patreon.com, Patreon with /MMANDCREW, okay? And just use a search bar or just scroll down through the articles and you'll find out what I'm talking about. It says the minister urges the concerned authorities to continue to work hard and intensify their efforts to ensure that the success of the reform program achieves sustainable development and economic growth is on the right track. Okay, so there's no coincidence when it comes to the cooperation between all parties when it comes to sustainable development to improve the living standards of the citizens. The World Bank, the IMF, everybody's been talking about that's their goal. World Trade Organization, the WCO, for instance, doing trade deals with Iran even. I mean, everybody and their brother wants to have this whole thing work and be sustainable, and that's the buzzword that they use. Look, the cooperation is not just internally that she has, okay? It goes far beyond Iraq's borders. It's a global cooperative, if you will. The World Bank, the IMF, like I said, the Bank of International Settlements, World Trade Organizations, the United States Treasury, all of those I mentioned already, they have achieved what? Agreements with respect to Iraq's reforms and the sustainability towards economic growth into the future. The topic of sustainability is in the news, and it's out all over the place. I mean, they're using it everywhere. When you see it, a lot of people are skeptical about it, and maybe rightfully so. Like it or not, it's just what it is, and that's what I report is the best that I can to show that the aforementioned entities are global in their actions. And what you'll see in that article with the United States Treasury, who they put it out on their own to anybody that's subscribes to their U.S. Treasury's website, get those on a daily basis and updates, will find that Iraq's reforms will be in line with what they're talking about. And the impacts that will be coming to many, many nations of the world based off of Iraq alone are going to fit that model that they're talking about. What it does is it includes, these guys are talking about what includes to be a push to sustainable economic development and growth. Like it or not, you guys, it's what's coming, and they're going to be taking care of it on their end, the way that they do, and we're going to be part of it. And again, like I say, some people might not be appreciative of it at all, but again, I just report the news, and I truly believe, though, that one of their agendas in sustainable development is revaluing the Iraqi currency. And that's going to be what? It's going to help do exactly what al-Sudani has stated. It's said that al-Sudani has stated many times, be careful, Iraq, effectively, Iraq is stronger than the dollar. And if that still holds true, in 2024, the year of achievements, you can look that up too, the year of achievements, he's stated things of that nature, that they're going to be hammered at home, somewhat of the savior of the global financial system. And how are you going to do that at 1310 when you never did it before? How does that work? You got to realize that there's like, yeah, obviously they're going to do something completely different. And what do? Here's an article today that says this. And this is going to take a few minutes, and hopefully I can get it right because it's a lot of data, but I'm going to try to be careful with it because the fact remains is it's important to know, and taking pages of data and trying to analyze it sometimes in one's head, it makes it kind of tough, you guys. But look, in the scheme of things, Iraqi Trade Bank, this is an article, Iraq Trade Bank of Iraq announces measures to support the stability of the exchange rate. Of what? The Iraqi dinar. Not the dollar, Iraqi dinar. It says the Iraqi Trade Bank announced on Wednesday that it has taken a series of measures to support the stability of the exchange rate and prevent the exploitation of speculators. The bank's management took a series of measures that would stabilize the exchange rate and prevent market manipulation, including increasing the working hours in the banks and their branches, which was an impact on the speed of completion of traders' transactions and the smoothness of financial transfers and the elimination of momentum in it. It says the director of the editorial branch of the Iraqi Bank, so Mr. Hashimi, has spoken about it. He says that there's a series of measures being taken successively that will have a clear impact in controlling the exchange rate, preventing speculators, and limiting the granting of the dollar exclusively to beneficiaries. Okay, so listen, Mohammed Shia al-Sudani has directed to do something. He says to intensify the inspection procedures in financial transfers and not to be tolerant of pursuing speculators. Do not stop if you have to, who exploit the crisis that the region is going through to achieve personal profits and benefit at the expense of the public, of the interest of the country. Clearly, they're talking about the parallel market. They just don't tolerate it. You guys got to keep moving forward. Okay, so you think about it, you guys. I don't know if you guys realize when they say what this actually means is that, look, the series of the way it works, when they talk about defending or defending the currency, for instance, central banks are the ones that typically are the ones that defend the currencies and exchange rates and interest rates. They do that by buying and selling foreign currency. They sell their own, or they buy their own, or they buy other foreign currencies. And that is a component that I'll get to, okay? So, but if you think about it for a minute, it's the central banks that do the defending, but who do they use? They use international banks to help facilitate the ability to do those money transfers. The central banks are separate. They'll flow the money flow to those that are needed, buying and selling of the currencies. But who's going to do it? It's that next level down, and that's the Iraqi Trade Bank. Now, I don't know if you guys remember this, but in 2003, one of the biggest members of dealing with the Iraqi Trade Bank was J.P. Morgan. J.P. Morgan team bags the Trade Bank of Iraq deal, and it's dated the 8th of September 2003. A consortium of 13 banks headed by J.P. Morgan Chase and Company was won the contract to set up the Trade Bank of Iraq Coalition Provisional Authority. The CPA Director for Economy Policy, Peter McPherson, expects the bank to be issuing trade credits by the end of September. That was September 8th, 2003. Fast forward to 2024, the Iraqi Trade Bank announced Wednesday that it's taken a series of measures to support the stability of the exchange rate and prevent the exploitation of speculators. Okay, so wow, all of these things are happening at the same time. You've got some of the largest ships and container ships in the world coming to the country, and all of a sudden, this particular international bank, the Iraqi Trade Bank, is going to start doing what do they talk about? What are they going to do? They're going to announce as measures to support the stability of the exchange rate of the Iraqi dinar. Okay, so but back up a little bit. You guys remember back in the day when you have other entities around the world, like the AMF? The AMF, isn't that where Al-Awlaq used to be? He was the governor of the Central Bank of Iraq, went to the head department of the AMF for what? To be part of their central banking system, right? The Arab Monetary Fund. Okay, so here's an article that's interesting enough. It was back in 2021, is that the AMF is pleased to announce appointing J.P. Morgan to serve as a settlement bank for the U.S. dollar in what? The BUNA system. So the BUNA system is a regional currency, cross-border payments, okay? It's interesting. But here's another article. Successful launch of cross-border payments of Iraqi pensioner salaries using BUNA. It's the first transaction in Jordanian dinar. So the Iraqi currencies and or country central bank transaction, Jordanian dinar, on the BUNA platform. Okay, we'll leave it at that. This transaction was 2 years ago. So they successfully pulled it off. But now you're talking about, well, who does? I'm going to show you proof on this one, okay? But the BUNA platform is going to clear international currencies, regional. And what else is going to do that? The ISO 20022, SWIFT, okay? They're going to do currencies too, okay? Are they going to work in conjunction? Are they going to work on the same platform? Are they going to have the same software? Are they going to be able to interconnect? We're going to find out. I'm pretty sure they probably are. Anyway, and because of the technology, we've talked about the XRP, you guys. the technology, they're going to be able to communicate. They have many different technologies. Well, not many different technologies, but they have different systems, whether it be in Asia, whether it be in Russia, whether it be possibly the BRICS nations. They'll all have some sort of ability to communicate. It's going to be global. It's not going to be just like only X and Z and Y or whatever doing trade. Everybody's going to still be doing trade around the world. But the technology is going to be able to be that component that probably ties them all together. And they remember but they told you the Argo project, the Bank of International Settlements, is the largest bank it is the bank for central banks. And they talk about the Argo project. We touched on that. You guys go back and look it up. Hopefully I got the name right. If I got it wrong, I'll correct it, you guys. But I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Okay, so anyway, it says, I wrote down, who defends foreign currency exchange rates? And it says, here's a snippet, okay? Central banks primarily use foreign exchange and intervention policy to defend currency exchange rates, which involves buying or selling currencies in the market to influence the value of their domestic currency and manage exchange rate volatility. It goes on to say that central banks primarily use foreign exchange intervention policy to defend currency exchange rates, which involves buying or selling foreign currencies in the market to influence the value of their domestic currency and manage exchange rate volatility. And again, they reiterated it, but it says key points to think about foreign exchange. It says when a central bank wants to strengthen its currency, it buys its own currency using reserves of foreign currencies. Conversely, to weaken its currency, it sells its own currency and buys foreign currency. So what's the impact? Interventions can sometimes be sterilized to minimize their impact on the domestic money supply by using open market operations to offset the effects of buying or selling foreign currencies. And why is it used? Well, it's used in conjunction with interest rates. Central banks often adjust interest rates alongside foreign exchange interventions to further influence the exchange rate. So who does it help? Who helps in this process? Here it is, when I brought up the Iraqi Trade Bank. While international banks themselves don't directly defend currency exchange rates, they play a significant role in the foreign currency exchange market by facilitating currency transactions, which can indirectly influence exchange rates. The primary actors responsible for actively managing exchange rates are the central banks, who intervene in the market by buying or selling currencies to stabilize the fluctuations and achieve desired exchange rates. So I think what they're saying here, the Iraqi Trade Bank, after its opening and being, adjusted, if you will, over the last 20 years, is now open and ready to be able to, it's been open, but I mean it's ready to help in what? Stability of the exchange rate of the Iraqi dinar and help with exploitation of speculators. They're taking measures to stabilize the exchange rate. They're looking to prevent market manipulation. They're talking all about that. It says basically the measures have been taken successfully. Well, no, I should say, quote, successively, that will have a clear impact in controlling the exchange rate. Okay, so why would they be talking about controlling the exchange rate? It's been controlled by the Central Bank of Iraq right now for 1310 and subsequently other triple zero currency exchange rates. But here they're talking about now the Iraqi Trade Bank is going to be a facilitator to help the central bank. Wow, really? Okay, so something's changed, hasn't it? Something's going to change. It's huge. I love it, you guys. So anyway, that's where we're at, is that, you know what? They've got the systems in place. They got the electronic systems in place. They told us that they had like 600 countries, 600 companies and or state institutions dealing with the electronic payments. They're ready to go. Having massive ships come in to test the port, the first 5 berths, is massive. Why? Because that's going to be nothing but trade. And you have articles the last few days talking about the World Trade Organization again. So you take it all into picture, and then you find that Tape Sammy, she's got time schedules. She has time schedules. Why is she doing that? Well, she has to. She's going to talk about The time schedules for what? Because she has economic timetables, achievements to be met, right? So when she's talking about the legal side of it, does that reek of the Ministry of the Judiciary? I mean, if she's got timetables, they have the importance, adhering to specified timetables and achieving the desired objectives and promoting economic stability. Didn't we just have an article that told us that they had a timeline? And didn't they just tell us about salaries needing to be paid by a specific time frame? Didn't they mention something about mid-October? And we're getting really pretty close, are we not? I think we are. So I think if you guys do some of your research and you look and see what we've just said, it's fascinating. It's really, really fascinating, compelling. So thank you very much, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed my content. Please do me a favor, hit that like button and subscribe. And don't forget, all of your donations that you guys bring in, all the support you do is so much appreciated. It helps to keep this place up and running. And you know where they are. We have Zelle, PayPal, and Venmo. Really appreciate you guys all. Enjoy your weekend. Once again, guys, don't forget to hit that like button if you like this content. Subscribe to the channel or join us at the Militia Man and Crew Patreon community for even more exclusive content. You can also donate to this channel by hitting the links in the banner to help keep this page up and running. Your generous support is greatly appreciated, as always. Much, much appreciated. Thank you so much and have a great day.